Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Nityānanda, Prabhu? Thank you. We want to welcome Panchagoda today to the program. See his nice picture on the screen, Haribo. We've been having wonderful conversations with him online, discussing about the distribution of Prabhupada's original books in foreign languages, which is part of our agenda, is to publish or reprint the original versions of these books in Spanish, in Italian, in Francais, in French, and through Prabhu Panchagoda's encouragement to look at where he resides in Ukraine, and also have it printed in Ukrainian and Russian for the benefit of the devotees in those countries as well as Spanish in South America for our devotees there, and of course in English for the rest of the English-speaking people. So this is part of our work. One of our main missions is to develop this distribution of original books and help people like Panchagoda, like Vijaya Pandit in Italy, and other people who are interested in this mission. And they're not only wanting to print them, but they also are active as book distributors. So what better service than to distribute books, the original unedited books of Srila Prabhupada, which are the true connection with our spiritual master in his Vani incarnation. And somehow or other, people have misunderstood the principle of Guru Tattva. Prabhupada lives in sound, the Vaishnava lives in sound, and his disciples live with him. And so the unadulterated books are the key to that opportunity, absolutely. And although some people criticize us for that, they think we're fanatics or deviants. This is, of course, the nature of life, that people will have different opinions. But our motivation is based on fact, the principles of Shastra and Prabhupada's instructions in these different mediums, his letters, his lectures, and his books, which are very clear to the sincere person seeking liberation from this material world. So someone could say, well, you're talking about this on an ongoing basis. Well, remember, these classes, they're only meant to bring us together for 4.5 hours a week out of 168 hours out of an entire week, to give association, to hear from like-minded God brothers, and become inspired to chant your rounds, to offer your food properly, to perform kirtan, to preach to others, to distribute books, because all of the rest of the time we're busy, engaged in devotional service, which is the key to liberation from this material world. And in the case of Aprakrita, Prabhu, our wonderful God brother, and it's amazing when we think about him, how truly advanced he was. And it was revealed in his writings, even back to 2011, and in other writings that he presented to us, how he was strictly following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada in his use of time. because really that's the difference between someone who is a neophyte and someone who is advanced, very advanced, like himself, in the use of time to serve our spiritual master. And he had his schedule filled up with Krishna conscious activity 24 hours a day. And I'm discussing with a devotee from England these days, an Indian chap, East Indian chap, very sincere and very serious about spiritual life. And we're talking about scheduling for him. What is his schedule, how he uses his time. And so he's gradually increasing his commitment to Prabhupada's mission by the proper use of his time in a schedule. So Prabhupada was like that. He was very diligent in the use of time, because time can just disappear on us. People think, oh, I'll just live on. But look what happened. Little did we know that our dearest godbrother would be taken back to Godhead by the grace of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya without any warning. We kind of knew, but we didn't. So this is life. It moves very quickly. Yes, it does. And although people think we'll carry on living, just think about it, Panchagoda. You live to 20, 25 years under the protection of your parents and of the educational system. That's what you do. You go to college, university, and then you finish that. You try to figure out what you're going to do. You may start a job. You get involved in the job. You work at that. You probably, a lot of people, and here especially in the West, I guess everywhere, it's basically a Grihamedi culture. That's what it is. All you see is husband, wife, kids, and a dog. That's it. Everywhere you go, it's all pervasive. So you live out that period at 55. If you make enough money, you could retire, so-called, and then you live another 20 years and it's goodbye. See you later. And you're on to the next birth. Whatever your karma is that you carry with you, that will produce the next birth that you have. And it could be good or bad. Actually, for devotees, we can bless people by giving them the opportunity to chant the holy name. Because even once, Prabhupada, I was reading in the 12th chapter, Yashodanandana Prabhu, about the progressive nature of devotional service in Prabhupada's purports. So even the uttering of one name of Krishna begins a person on the path back to Godhead progressively. And it could be many births, or it could be right away. It all depends on the mercy of Prabhupada and Krishna and the sincerity of purpose of the individuals you meet. So whoever you meet, wherever you go, get the people to at least utter the name once if you get a chance. Get them to say the name once. And just think of all, Panchagoda, all the people that you get to chant the name just once, how much blessing you get as a devotee. Because really, Krishna consciousness blesses everyone. The person that's speaking or the person that's hearing, they're equal. Because hearing and chanting, they're equal. Hearing the speaker speaking or listening to the speaker, that's an equal process of benefit for all parties. So thank you, everyone. And all glories to our dear God brother, Prakrita Prabhu, a great, pure Vaishnava of Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission, and a really amazing supporter of this program that we've established, the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, and he attended all of the programs. Yes, he did. And he was in constant touch with Yashodanandana Prabhu and myself to constantly encourage us to carry on with this program for the benefit of all parties. So thank you everyone for coming to the program. We really appreciate it. It's a great relief for all of us to get this opportunity. And we'll carry on. And now we're going to carry on with the reading of the diaries of Srila Prabhupada, which gives us a very deep insight into his early days and how he was organized. And there was a heading there of the books, the classes, and kirtans by dates over the month. And now we'll read the specific pages of his notes for everyone's benefit. So we'll go to Wednesday, January 19th, 1966. And it's New York. And Prabhupada says, by the grace of Sri Guru and Gauranga, an encouraging letter is received today from Sri Padampat Singhania of Kanpur, India. And a temple is hopeful. So Prabhupada had an ambition to establish the mission of Lord Chaitanya by erecting a Radha Krishna temple in New York City. That was his vision. To see the publication sales office at U.S. Government Office of Education, 110 Livingston Street, Borough House Station, and there's the phone number back then. Seen Mr. L. Malhotra at the New York India House, submitted Chandra Shekhar's case for transfer of his office in New York. He said to consider. So he's talking about transferring money in case he got a donation from India. He would have to have a location in New York. And you see how astute Panchagoda Prabhupada was in dealing with his business affairs. It's not mundane, it's a transcendental service to his guru and to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So everything dovetailed like our God brother. 2 sets of books he said to consider. So he's the guy's giving him an excuse. Oh, I think I'll think about it, I'll let you know. 2 sets of books taken back from Paragon Book Gallery. And this makes altogether 7 sets taken back, balanced with them 18 sets. So he's being diligent about how many Bhagavatam sets he's distributing. And we're going to be doing that when we get our Bhagavatams, the Delhi Bhagavatams, reprinted. We'll be distributing through our offices throughout the world. And then all of you can go ahead and help us distribute these books to sincere people. So here's the footnote. Sri Padma Singh was a wealthy industrialist living in Kanpur, India. 2, Mr. L. Malhotra was an official at the Indian consulate. And 3, Paragon Book Gallery specialized books on Eastern religion and culture. Srila Prabhupada stored his books there. Very, very intelligent how he was able to do things with nothing. He had no place to live. He had no storage areas. He had no facility, but it did not at all halt his efforts to push on the Sankirtan mission. Thursday, January 20th, New York. Bon Maharaj's letter replied, and he is requested to see Radha Krishna. And I mentioned this before. I had quite a bit of, let's say, live association with Bon Maharaj, which we can discuss at a later date. Now, everything depends on the supreme will of the Lord Sri Krishna. Sri Padampat Singhania replied, Chandrasekhar replied, and asked to send 1 set of Bhagavatams to Sri Padampat Singhania. So Prabhupada's doing his best to inspire people through his books. Bon Maharaj was one of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, and the rector of the Institute of Oriental Philosophy in Vrindavan, India. And we've seen that building, Yashoda, huh? Just down from the Krishna Balaram Mandir on the right side. It was a very big field with a building there. Quite interesting. And so we'll read one letter from the JK organization and Prabhupada sent them a letter, obviously, to see if they would donate money. And I was looking at the businesses that they ran. They had cotton mills, they had jute, they had wool, they had metal engineering, they had paper and straw, they had plastics, they had soap and sugar and banking, insurance, trade and commerce, and trusts. So very, very rich, opulent company. And Prabhupada's very bold to step out and try to get them to donate money to help him and help them in the spreading of his mission. So they write back on the 14th of January, 66. My dear Swamiji, your letter without date is to hand. I've gone through your letter. I'm very glad to note your idea of erecting a Sri Radha Krishna temple in New York. I think the proposal is a good one, but the following are the difficulties. One, we have got to send foreign exchange for building the temple, for which government sanction is required. Without the government sanction, no money can be sent abroad. If the government of India agrees, then one can think of erecting the temple in New York. And two, I doubt whether with this small amount of rupees 7 lakhs, a temple can be built in New York. I mean, to carry out a nice construction with Indian type architecture, to get the temple completed in Indian type of architecture, we have to send a man from India. These are the two main difficulties. Otherwise, your idea is very good. And it's one of their officers, and it's sent to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, 100 West 72nd Street, Studio 501. And by the way, that was an office with no kitchen and no washroom facilities. New York, USA. So Prabhupada, very, very bold in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement back in 1966. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then our reading and discussion being led by His Grace Nityānanda Prabhu. I'm in Calgary, he's in California, and Panchagoda's in Ukraine, and all the rest of the devotees here on the program. Thank you for attending, and we'll carry on with the chanting. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Sattvaresvara Samadhati Dhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivāsari Gaur Bhaktamani Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khund Radha Khund Giri Godhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to their Summit. All glories to their Summit. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Glories to you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudhirayat. Tato Jayam Mudhirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:2:4. Thanks, everybody, for joining in into this reading and discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses describing the meaning and the transcendental benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature that Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita will be reading from Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 1, text 18 to 22. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityānanda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityānanda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. 18 Thakur Gaudiya ke Karye Chenayatmasat. 18 Charana Vandan Tire Morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Granterarambe Karimangala Charana, Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Tinera Smaraniai Vigna Vinashana, Anayaseai Nijavan Chita Purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desire. Semangala Charanai Trivida Prakar Vastu Nirdesha Chirvada Namaskara. The invocation involves three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. We will proceed with our reading. Today we will be reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It should be remembered that this reading and discussion is based upon the original, non-adulterated, non-edited 1974-1975 edition of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, all synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. From Adi Lila, Chapter 5, text number 17. Sarvopari Sri Gokula Vrajaloka Dham, Sri Goloka Shveta Dvipa Vrindavana Nam. Sarva Upari, above all of them, Sri Gokula, the place known as Gokula, Vrajaloka Dhama, the place of Vraja, Sri Goloka, the place named Goloka, Shweta Dvipa, the White Island, Vrindavana Nama, also named Vrindavana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Gokula, the highest of all, is also called Vraja, Goloka, Shweta Dvipa, and Vrindavana. Text 18. Saravaga Ananta Vibhu Krishna Tanusam, Uparyado Vyapyache Nahi Kaniyam. Saravaga, all pervading. Ananta, unlimited. Vibhu, the greatest. Krishna Tanusama, exactly like the transcendental body of Krishna. Uparyadaha, up and down. Vyapyache, expanded. Nahika, there is no. Niyama, regulation. Translation. Like the transcendental body of Lord Krishna, Gokula is all-pervading, infinite, and supreme. It expands both above and below without any restriction. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Jiva Goswami, the greatest authority and philosopher in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has discussed the abode of Krishna in his Krishna Sandarbha. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord refers to my abode. Srila Jiva Goswami, examining the nature of Krishna's abode, refers to the Skanda Purana which states, Yayata bhuvi vartante puryo bhagavata priya tastata santive kunte tattalilartam madrita. The abodes of Godhead in the material world, such as Dwaraka, Mathura, and Goloka, are facsimiles representing the abodes of Godhead in the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha Dhamma. The unlimited spiritual atmosphere of that Vaikuntha Dhamma is far above and beyond the material cosmos. This is confirmed in the Swayambhuva Tantra in a discussion between Lord Shiva and Parvati regarding the effect of chanting the mantra of 14 syllables. There it is stated, Nana kalpa lata kirnam Vaikuntham vyapakam smaret adha samyam gunanam cha prakritihi sarvakaranam. While chanting the mantra, one should always remember the spiritual world, which is very extensive and full of desired trees that can yield anything one desires. Below that Vaikuntha region is the potential material energy which causes the material manifestation. The places of the pastimes of Lord Krishna, such as Dwaraka, Mathura, and Vrindavana, eternally and independently exist in Krishna Loka. They are the actual abode of Lord Krishna, and there is no doubt that they are situated above the material cosmic manifestation. The abode known as Vrindavana or Gokula is also known as Goloka. The Brahma Samhita describes that Gokula, the highest region of the kingdom of God, resembles a lotus flower with thousands of petals. The outer portion of that lotus-like planet is a square place known as Shweta Dvipa. In the inner portion of Gokula, there is an elaborate arrangement for Sri Krishna's residence with his external associates such as Nanda and Yashoda. That transcendental abode exists by the energy of Sri Baladeva, who is the original whole of Shesha or Ananta. The Tantras also confirmed this description by stating that the abode of Sri Anantadeva, the plenary portion of Baladeva, is called the kingdom of God. Vrindavana Dhamma is the innermost abode within the quadrangular realm of Shweta Dvipa, which lies outside of the boundary of Gokula, Vrindavana. According to Jiva Goswami, Vaikuntha is also called Brahmaloka. The Narada Pancharatra, in a statement concerning the mystery of Vijaya, described Tat Sarvopari Goloke, Tatra Lokopari Swayam, Viharet Paramanandi, Govindo Atulanayakaha. The predominator of the gopis, Govinda, the principal deity of Gokula, always enjoys himself in a place called Goloka, in the topmost part of the spiritual sky. From the authoritative evidence cited by Jiva Goswami, we may conclude that Krishna Loka is the supreme planet in the spiritual sky, which is far beyond the material cosmos. For the enjoyment of transcendental variety, the pastimes of Krishna, there have three divisions. All these pastimes are performed in the abodes, in the three abodes, Dwaraka, Mathura, and Gokula. When Krishna descends to this universe, he enjoys the pastimes in places of the same name. These places on earth are non-different from those original abodes, for they are facsimiles of those original holy places in the transcendental world. They are as good as Sri Krishna himself and are equally worshipable. Lord Chaitanya declared that Lord Krishna, who presents himself as the son of the king of Vraja, is worshipable, and Vrindavana Dhamma is equally worshipable. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyayam Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasme Shugurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Shiram Karayuktam Kadatihi Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Jammani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Karomisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes in several places that if one reaches his transcendental abode, yat gatva nanivartante tadhama paramam mama, that my supreme abode, if you reach that place, you don't have to come back here. You will stay in eternal bliss in association with Krishna. What is so wonderful about this particular purport in text 18 is the level of precision and detail of how Srila Prabhupada is presenting the actual situation in the spiritual world. Prabhupada gives evidence from the Skanda Purana, from the Narada Pancharatra, and also from other Shastra. Now, this is very important because so many times people are fascinated about the situation in this universe, wanting to know what is going on in other planets. Are there other living beings in other planets? There's a lot of speculation about UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Well, I call the description in the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and other shastras IFOs, identified flying objects. We see in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as the third canto, description in the spiritual world. Prabhupada explains that even in higher planets, some of the demigods in Siddhaloka, Charanaloka, these living entities, they can fly from one planet to another without mundane airplanes, without any of the difficulty that there is to fly on this planet. This is the effect of mystic power. And even in Vaikuntha Loka, in the spiritual world, they can go anywhere they want. But the difference between the material world and the spiritual world, that in the material world, even if one is elevated to the higher planets, according to the Bhagavad Gita, still when the merits of his activities are finished, kshinye punye martyalokam vishanti, one has to come back down to this planet. But when once reaches the spiritual world, he doesn't have to come down. Interestingly, when Sudama, the African-American devotee, volunteered to go to Japan in 1970. He was in Los Angeles, and Srila Prabhupada requested one of his personal servants to go to Japan. And the personal servant says, well, Prabhupada, I'm happy here serving you. Prabhupada said, that is all right. When Sudama heard that Srila Prabhupada was looking to have somebody go to Japan, he volunteered to Srila Prabhupada. He went to see Srila Prabhupada and told him, Prabhupada, I'll go to Japan and help you start the movement there. So the day when he was just ready, he had gotten his tickets and getting ready to depart for the airport at the Los Angeles International Airport. Prabhupada called him to his room and told him, for you volunteering to go to Japan to start the movement, at the time of death, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will personally come and bring you back home, back to Godhead. And actually, it did happen. In 1994, Sudama died in Los Angeles. He had Ganges water on his head, Tilak, the Maha Mantra. He somewhere or other was in a situation to remember Krishna very nicely. Actually, they had him on the bed and they had a picture of Srila Prabhupada placed on the ceiling so he would be able to see Srila Prabhupada all the time. So this was the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is very significant because many devotees will ask a question, well, have there ever been any examples of devotees who have departed their body and Prabhupada confirmed they went back to Godhead? Well, we know from the example of Nityānanda Prabhu in Los Angeles that after he departed, Prabhupada confirmed that he did go back to Godhead, that he was a pure devotee. Same thing with Sudama. There was an incident in Vrindavan because in the Shastra it is described if one dies in Vrindavan, he goes back to Krishna. There was a godbrother named Kutichak. Kutichak had a young daughter in 1977. She was 5-6 years old. And some way or other, she took some medication by accident that was not meant for her, and they found her dead. So devotees went to Srila Prabhupada and asked her, well, this girl, she's 6 years old, did she go back to Krishna? And Prabhupada started asking all kinds of questions. Well, what was her life? What was she doing? Devotees said, well, she used to go to the program, hear the Bhagavatam, go to the Arti, take prasadam, go to the Kirtan. And Prabhupada said, yes, she went back to Godhead. That is special benediction if one dies there. Same thing with Brahmananda. He died in Vrindavan, back to Godhead. But if wherever one is, whether it's in Montreal, Canada, like Upper Krita, or Los Angeles, or in Vrindavan, if one remembers Krishna, Yadgatvana nivartante tadama paramam mama. This is very important to understand. Srila Prabhupada one time was in Bombay, was having a discussion with a gentleman from another religious background, another religious group. And this person did not want to accept that Krishna was God. And Prabhupada's point was, well, if you don't accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so why don't you explain to me who is God? Where does he live? What does he do? What are his activities? What are his associates? And how to get there? Can you explain to me? And the man says, well, God is great. Prabhupada says, that is not sufficient. Everybody knows God is great. We have often discussed as part of this program that in the Vedic Shastras, God is called Achyuta, infallible. Asama Urdhva, no one can surpass God. He's the greatest of the greatest. But how to explain that greatness, that is the difference between Srila Prabhupada's explanations and the explanations of other religionists. Now, we don't decry or criticize anybody's beliefs or pious beliefs. That is nice. That is good. Let them practice their chosen beliefs. But it should be noted that the description, just like we have in this purport, the descriptions that are given in Srila Prabhupada's books, assuming you get one of the original unrevised books, that these descriptions are the highest description anywhere in the world, because this is based on the scientific knowledge of the Vedas, the Upanishad, the Puranas. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a mention, Vede Ramayani Cheva, Purane Bharate Tata, Ado Chamad Ante Chamadyamsha, Harihi Sarvatra Giyate. That in all the Vedic literatures, whether the Vedas, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the different Shastras, in all these, from the beginning to the middle to the end, only Lord Hari is glorified. This is quoted in one of the other purports in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. One of the famous Acharya in our Sampradaya, Sripad Madhvacharya, has also quoted this verse in his various writings. And this is very important to understand. Prabhupada was giving a very scientific, very systematic process of how to understand who is God, what is his position, what is his name, who are his associates, what are his qualities, what are his incarnations, and how to reach him, how to develop that love of God, how to develop that intense relationship with God called bhakti, and the whole process of how to get there. And this process begins with the chanting of the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Recently, one person sent a communication to me, and he was criticizing, well, why you spend so much time with all this Sanskrit in the beginning? You're always quoting this, quoting that. Well, factually, the reality is that whether one knows Sanskrit or not, it has nothing to do with bhakti. It has nothing to do with spiritual advancement. There's a lot of persons in India who have profuse knowledge of Sanskrit, who have very advanced knowledge of Sanskrit grammar and everything, but they're not devotees. They're devoid of bhakti. The whole point is to practice the process of bhakti yoga, of devotional service, especially by the process of chanting. Prabhupada sometimes used to call it mantra yoga, developing spiritual life by repeating mantras, by which one can be liberated and freed from the entanglement of this material existence. This is a very important point. This devotee, Sudama, one time went to Srila Prabhupada and said, well, you have a lot of your disciples, senior disciples and sannyasis and other devotees. They know some Sanskrit and Bengali, and they can quote this and quote that. But I don't know much Sanskrit or anything. Well, what should I do? Well, how should I preach? Prabhupada told him Sanskrit has nothing to do with bhakti. Of course, the whole culture and the literature is in Sanskrit, and our sampradaya also in Bengali. But Prabhupada said, what you do is you read my books, and you read and assimilate the knowledge in these purports and present it in your own words. Then that will be successful. One should not be under the illusion that you're required to become a Sanskrit so-called scholar in order to advance in the process of bhakti. Krishna doesn't say that. Nowhere in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says you become a Sanskrit scholar and then you'll develop the bhakti. No. Prabhupada explains very nicely in some of his purports. I was just reading today of how, let me just find the actual. Prabhupada said, this is from a room conversation in Hyderabad, India on April 12th, 1975. Hyderabad, India, on April 12, 1975, Srila Prabhupada explains, any language you should submit, and you should feel that I am worthless. My Guru Maharaj has given this chance to serve Krishna, to offer Krishna. My Lord, I am worthless. I have no capacity to serve you, but on the order of my Guru Maharaj, I'm trying to serve you. Please do not take any offense, accept whatever I can do, that's all. That is my request. That mantra is sufficient. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 26, If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Krishna never said that one who offers me with Sanskrit mantra, real-tin is bhakti, feeling how to serve Krishna, how to please him. That is wanted, not to see that you are a very good scholar in speaking in Sanskrit or English. Always feel that. I am worthless, but I have been, by the grace of my Guru Maharaja, I have been given the chance, so kindly accept whatever little service I can give. I am offensive, so kindly excuse me. In this way, be humble, meek, and offer your feeling, and Krishna will be satisfied. Not that you have to show how you can speak in Sanskrit language. Now, interestingly, having said that, in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is a mention that when one worships the deity at the end, he should offer some prayers requesting forgiveness from Krishna for any offense, for any fault, for any forgiveness, for anything that has been done that is not according to the proper standard. And there's a very nice prayer they quote from the Mahabharata, where Draupadi, when she was being disrobed by the Kurus, she explained, Pratignatava Govinda Name Bhakta Pranashyati, that my dear Govinda, you have made a promise that your devotee will never perish. Iti samsmritya, by remembering this again and again, pranam sandarayam, I maintain my life. So this is the bhakti attitude that we have to try to develop, to think that I'm the eternal servant of Krishna, whatever my fault, whatever might be my deficiencies, let me try to offer it sincerely to Krishna. And then, by this kind of mindset, we can obtain the mercy of Krishna. Just this week, I got a very nice email sent by a devotee in New Vrindavan who publishes a newsletter called the Hare Krishna Movement, in which he gives different explanation of Prabhupada's teachings. It's very nicely done, very sophisticated and very, very beautiful newsletter. And he was explaining how Prabhupada was glorifying the importance of the nectar of devotion. Because we know in the regular society, there's some people who claim that they have done the laws of ISKCON. Okay, when this book came out, The Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada explained that this is the law book of ISKCON. This is the law book for the Krishna consciousness movement. And this devotee, I believe I don't know if it's Vyasadeva or somebody, he was explaining how Prabhupada said that this particular book is the basis of the whole science of Krishna consciousness, how to understand what is bhakti. Just a week or 2 weeks ago, we were quoting a lecture from Srila Prabhupada when the Nectar of Devotion lectures were in Vrindavan at the Radha Damodar temple. Prabhupada explains that if you read this Nectar of Devotion, you are directly associated with Srila Rupa Goswami. Somebody may say, well, wait a minute, Rupa Goswami departed in the middle 1500s after the departure of Lord Chaitanya, and this was in 1972. How are you directly associating with Rupa Goswami? But that is the mystery, that is the potency of hearing from a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, who delivers the pure, non-adulterated, transcendental message of Rupa Goswami. If Prabhupada says that you're directly associated with Rupa Goswami, that is an undeniable fact, despite the ranting and raving of the Vapuvadis who try to emphasize their physical presence over and above Prabhupada's Vani. This is a very important point to understand. Prabhupada's Vani is always transcendental, and every time we read Srila Prabhupada books, we are directly associated with Srila Prabhupada and Rupa Goswami and all these transcendental associates. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Yashodanandana Prabhu. Yes, and the Vaishnava lives in sound. He reasons ill, that thinks that Vaishnavas die. They live in sound. because this is a yoga practice, a yoga process, and there are 9 different practices of devotional service. But they begin with hearing and chanting, because the ear is, of all the senses, can gather as much information as possible by the living entity through hearing, not by seeing. And Prabhupada further explained that the understanding of the spiritual world is like the description of a pamphlet on a travel vacation. I'm paraphrasing, where they tell you all these features, what you're going to get when you go somewhere. And then you get excited. Oh, I think I want to go there. So you're reading it. You're hearing, oh, there's swimming and there's boat rides, etc. So like that, it is inconceivable to be able to understand the spiritual world by mental speculation or mental concoction. It's not possible. For one reason, we're so insignificant in this universe that it is beyond our ability, beyond our capacity to understand the transcendental reality of Krishna's creation. It's just traveling across Canada, Yashodanandana Prabhu, seeing there's 8,400,000 species of life. It's actually humbling just to see the trees. There are millions and millions and millions of trees. Can you imagine being born as a tree? Yet this is going on. So access to the transcendental realm is only possible by mercy, by the mercy of someone who has realized Krishna consciousness through his pure devotional efforts. Prabhupada is not an ordinary person, and he demonstrated it practically by all of his service throughout his life. And we were reading about the diaries, how sincere, how serious he was back then, when he had no facility but complete dependence on Krishna. And just see the success that he achieved, Prabhu, in his few short years with us after he started officially the ISKCON movement. It's an amazing opportunity for us, fallen souls, to be able to get the association of the pure devotee. Yet some people think, oh, Prabhupada's simply a Siksha guru. And some of our godbrothers, they've said that, oh, he's a Siksha guru. No. Prabhupada is a representative of Srila Vyasadeva. He's not an ordinary person, he's extraordinary, extremely. And for all of us that sincerely follow this process under his instructions and are diligent in following them carefully and taking shelter of him only, we have the greatest opportunity to go back to Godhead in this lifetime. Opportunity, yes, through preparation and opportunity, then there is a possibility of success. And I was reading the Bhagavad Gita on my trip to my son, with my son in the car, because that's what we spent, 35 and a half hours in a car. So we spent our time, part of the time, chanting and reading. And we read the devotional service chapter 12, the entire chapter. It was very enlightening. Text, and I came across this section I wanted to read for us. Text 6 and 7, Bhagavad Gita as it is. For one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, who has fixed his mind upon me, O son of Pritha, for him I am the swift deliverer deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Now, in the purport, Prabhupada's explaining specifically how to get that mercy. Go down further, Prabhu, onto 603. The Supreme Lord herein promises that he will without delay, yes, there you are, thank you, that he will deliver a pure devotee from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by the yoga process, and others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, that's all of us, it is clearly stated here that the Lord himself takes him. He does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself to the spiritual sky. It's an accumulation of devotional service for many, many lifetimes. In the Vraha Purana, this verse appears, Niyami paramam stanam archi radhi gatim vina garuda sankadam apropya yatecham anivarita. The purport of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Astanga Yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord himself. He clearly states here that he himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents, and thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once riding on his bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from this material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. Not by mental speculation. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. That is Srila Prabhupada, picking us up out of the ocean of material suffering. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. Nityānanda, this is confirmed as follows. Yavai sadhana sampati purushat sharta chatushtaye toya vina tad apnoti naro narayana shrayaha. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by mental speculative process. The purport, one who is devoted to the Supreme Personality can attain all the benefits derived from all yogic processes, speculations, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc., etc. This is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, a devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily, but this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. So just in conclusion, this is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya demonstrated devotional service by his personal example. That's how he demonstrated it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead demonstrated to us how we have to act. And even though he's Krishna himself, he took the humble position. And when you read the pastimes, which we do, you can see that Lord Chaitanya, He even blocked his ears, Prabhupada said, when people used to glorify him. Oh, you're Krishna, the Supreme Lord. No, thank you. Trinadapi Sunichena humbly took the process of devotional service, no residence, simply wandered around preaching Krishna consciousness and showing by practical example how to be a devotee. And this way, we can all go back to Godhead like Aprakrita did in our very presence very recently. Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you could further explain.
This is a very important point that you're raising here, because many devotees sometimes they get bewildered and do not quite understand the process that Prabhupada has given. Let me give an example. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, chapter 7, text 14, 5th canto, chapter 7, text 14, Prabhupada explains what people should do in the morning after they get up. Of course, one knows one should take a bath, rise early, and engage in Mangalartik and other activities. And Prabhupada explains in his purport, the predominating deity of the sun is another expansion of Narayana, who is illuminating the entire universe. The Lord enters the hearts of all living entities as the supersoul, and he gives them intelligence and fulfills their material desires. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham riddhi sannivishtaha. I am sitting in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita 15:15. As the supersoul, the Lord enters the heart of all living entities. As stated in Brahma Samhita 5:35, Andantarashta paramanu chayantarashtam. He enters the universe and the atom as well. In the Rig Veda, the predominating deity of the sun is worshipped by this mantra. Dhyayaha sada savitrumandala madhyavarati narayanaha sarasijasana sannivishtaha. Narayana sits on his lotus flower within the sun. By reciting this mantra, every living entity, and I'm emphasizing this point, Prabhupada doesn't say you have to be a Sanskrit scholar or a big Brahmin. No. By reciting this mantra, every living entity should take shelter of Narayana just as the sun rises. According to modern scientists, the material world rests on the sun's effulgence. Due to the sunshine, all planets are rotating and vegetables are growing. We also have information that the moonshine helps vegetables and herbs grow. Actually, Narayana within the sun is maintaining the entire universe. Therefore, Narayana should be worshipped by the Gayatri mantra or the Rig mantra. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Activities of King Bharata. What is especially significant in this purport is the way that Srila Prabhupada has explained this, that even every living entity should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with that mantra, which is a description of the features of Lord Narayana, Surya Narayana, within the sun planet. This is very significant. Everybody can chant this mantra very easily. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, and it's the best use of our time. And this body, Prabhupada explained it to us, Panchagoda. This body is a bad bargain for the human being because it's afflicted with so much difficulty. Adi Bhautika, Adi Devaka, Adi Atmaka, unlimited. It's called the ocean of misery. It is. It's like being out in the ocean. We're being tossed and turned by the material circumstances that we're in by other living entities. As you know, where you reside, There's a constant threat of death by war. Other living entities attacking each other. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. You can only hope that you can live on. This is reality. And there you're experiencing it firsthand, unfortunately. And then there's suffering caused by one's own body and mind, because people are mentally corrupt, especially in the modern Kali Yuga. They're so much bewildered by material success and fruit of work. In order to be happy, they think you have to make money. And Prabhupada explains you have to work very hard to get the money, and then you have to spend it in such a way that you think you can be happy. And then you find out that there's no happiness in the acquisition of wealth. There isn't. And then there's the miseries caused by the material nature in the form of natural disasters and difficulties. And these are going on constantly, as you can see. In America, there's all kinds of hurricanes and tornadoes, and there's all kinds of diseases. Recently, we had this hoax flu that came to everyone. Sure, some people died, but more people died as a result of the so-called treatments. So people are dying from all kinds of difficulties, and this is unfortunate. And life is very short. Like I said earlier, we think we'll live on, but this is not the reality. Just recently today in America, some 14-year-old boy went into a high school and killed 4 people and injured a group of other people in Georgia, America. That's a Kali Yuga. We are in the heart of the Kali Yuga. And here we're blessed with this opportunity to discuss this philosophy and get insight through the ears. A devotee sees through his ears, not through his eyes. That's how you see things. There's no other way. There is no other way. And that's why we specifically tell our membership that we want to only hear the unadulterated books and teachings of Srila Prabhupada, because this is the exact cure. Any change in the cure to a medicine may kill the patient. You don't just add anything in. Oh, let's add a bit of this, and maybe we'll put let's change this, let's change that. The change disease goes on, and it ruins everything. And with that in mind, I wanted to call on a friend of mine. I've known him since, I have to go back in time, 1974, I believe, or 75, in Chicago when he was in the university there. And I mentioned his name to Prabhupada, Garuda Prabhu, who subsequently has gone ahead and worked in the academic field at different universities. He went to the University of Harvard, I believe. And so he's on the program, and we'd like to ask him to add some further insights to today's discussion. Garuda Prabhu. Let's hope he's there. I guess his microphone's off. Yashoda. Maybe you could continue to speak, Yashoda, on the subject. Oh, someone else appeared. Maybe Dharma Bhavana has just appeared on the screen. Have you been at the class, Prabhu, Dharma? Are you familiar with the discussion?
Yeah, I started about 20 minutes late, but I've been here during the class now.
Okay, fine. Go ahead, please.
Well, I just want to kind of mention how if we can reflect back to maybe 1967, 68, the devotees who joined must have had a pretty strong faith, because they were very, very much in the minority of all the people. And they had to completely change their dress, their daily schedule, everything about their lives. And I was going to read from Majja Lila chapter 15, text 41. But also, I was going to mention that even among, like say, for example, in America, when the revolution was starting, where the British were abusing the American people, only a third of the American people wanted to become independent of the British. A third said, yes, we should become independent. And a third said, well, whichever group is stronger, I'll go with that group. So just by being in the minority should not be a discouraging thing, even if it's taken many years to kind of try to restart the mission. We should not be too discouraged. That was just kind of my thoughts. And I'm going to read now from chapter 15, text 41. With great respect, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested Advaita Acharya give Krishna consciousness, devotion to Krishna, even to the lowest of men, chandalas. In the second paragraph of the purport I wanted to read, there are different kinds of men, beginning with the Brahmin and going down to lowest platform, known as chandala. Whatever one's position, everyone in this age of Kali needs to be enlightened in Krishna consciousness. That is the greatest need of the day. Everyone is acutely feeling the pangs of material existence. Even in the ranks and files of the American Senate, the pinpricks of material existence are felt. So much so that April 30th, 1974 was actually set aside as prayer day. Thus, everyone is feeling the resultant pinpricks of Kali Yuga, brought about by human societies indulging in illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. Now is the time for the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to distribute Krishna Bhakti all over the world and thus follow the orders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord has ordered everyone to become a guru, Amara Gaya Guru Hanatara Desh. Everyone in every town and village should be enlightened by the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna consciousness should be distributed to everyone indiscriminately. In this way, the entire world will be peaceful and happy, and everyone will glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as he desires. So it's just, I just read this verse. I thought it was powerful. And whenever Prabhupada refers to this verse, he always wants devotees to repeat the instructions of Lord Chaitanya and not be involved in something that we're not advanced enough for. So I just thought, that's all. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
That brings up a very interesting point, and thank you for that. Yes, he encouraged us to be guru, of course. Like guru means to teach. And there's Vartma Padarshika Guru. There are three classifications. There's Siksha Guru, and there is Diksha Guru. So all of us here are encouraged to teach other people how to chant Hare Krishna, how to offer your food to Krishna, and how to study the books of the pure devotee of Krishna and get an insight into the spiritual world that he reveals to us because of his level of Krishna consciousness, the level of a pure devotee. So this is very, very important and not to be misunderstood, because a lot of times they take that out of context, Dharma Bhavana, and they say, oh yes, Lord Prabhupada instructed us, become guru. Okay, yes. But it is a great honor for us to be able to represent our spiritual master and present the process of Krishna consciousness to others as siksha, as an instructor, teaching them and setting the example for them how to practice this process. Yashodanandana Prabhu, could you further comment, please?
Yeah, I think it's very important to understand Srila Prabhupada's instructions according to time, place, and circumstances. He gives instructions in his books that you should do this, you should do that, but understand the context. When Prabhupada says everyone becomes guru, most of these statements are in the context of becoming instructing, shiksha. In order to become Diksha Guru or initiating Acharya or initiating spiritual master, this can only be done by receiving the direct, specific order from the Acharya. Not that that everybody just starts doing this on their own volition, on their own desire. In 1975 in Nairobi, Kenya, in October, Brahmananda asked Srila Prabhupada, there's an Indian gentleman who is asking, how did you become the leader of the Krishna consciousness movement? And Prabhupada's reply is, when I was ordered by my spiritual master. And Prabhupada says a guru can only become a guru, I'm referring to Diksha Guru, when he's directly ordered by his guru. So this propaganda that has been made, in 1977, Prabhupada appointed some Diksha Gurus. Well, but this is a misinterpretation, a misunderstanding of Prabhupada's instruction. What Srila Prabhupada did in 1977 is nominate certain disciples to be representatives of the Acharya. He never gave any direct specific instruction for any disciple to be Diksha Guru. And the result of the disobedience of that instruction has been chaos in the mission. And the reason we see this is Prabhupada was very aware of the history of the post-1937 Gaudiya Math, where they unauthorizedly elected one Acharya, and Prabhupada mentioned that proved to be a failure. Now, this is a very important point because many devotees have interpreted this. And Prabhupada in one letter says, I am always afraid of this great crack that some disciples, some godbrothers have interpreted the words of Guru Maharaj in their own way for sense gratification. And the same thing took place in the post-1977 mission of the Acharya. Now, this is a very important point because we see that many disciples are interpreting Prabhupada's words with different interpretations for sense gratification, for name, fame, power, position, prestige, profit, adoration, distinction, so many different ways. Everybody can preach. Every disciple has the right to preach the mission of the Acharya and thus become Shiksha Gurus. But Diksha Guru is not so cheap. And this is a very dangerous tendency that we see in the post-1977 ISKCON mission.
Yeah, ask the
Vishwakarma?
Yeah. Just Dharma Bhavana, wait 1 second with your mic. I just wanted to, before I bring Garuda Prabhu, my godbrother, I mentioned him earlier, that we've been associated since the 70s. And I discussed his wonderful career with Srila Prabhupada back then, and he was very supportive of him. I wanted to, by chance, this happened, Yashodanandana Prabhu. I'm at my son's house, and somehow or other, he has a collection of books. Okay, fair enough. And I found this book. Look at this, Yashoda. The Journey Within. Now, this is by a godbrother of ours, Radhanath, Mr. Radhanath from New Vrindavan. And Garuda, I don't know if you've had a chance to read this. It reminds me of a motivational book, like Vaisheshika's motivational book of insight, extracting knowledge from Prabhupada's books. There's a lot of wonderful information contained in Prabhupada's literatures. So they've taken the knowledge from Prabhupada, they've synthesized it into their own words, and they are presenting this so-called motivational book to people to gather followers and disciples. I'll read you one of the, Yashoda, I'll read you one of the reviews here on the back. The Journey Within takes us on the most important journey of our lives, to the journey to the eternal place of love and happiness. Sharon Ganan, co-founder of Jiva Mukti Yoga, author, yoga, and vegetarianism. Mayavadi, philosopher. And there's a whole collection of reviews by non-devotees. There's no mention of Srila Prabhupada at all. Garuda. I didn't read the book. I read one page, and I just couldn't believe that he is a God brother. Just like when you see these videos. Maybe you could comment on that for us, Prabhu. Garuda Prabhu in Harvard University.
Yeah, I've seen devotees move toward a kind of self-improvement genre of writing, perhaps even engaging Prabhupada's words in part. But I find that that's done because of a lack of knowing how to do in-depth study of Prabhupada's words. Because everything is there, but it's not there if you can't reach it. So, what this group is doing here is emphasizing in-depth reading and hearing what Prabhupada says. And that's liberating. But moving Prabhupada's words into a kind of self-help genre, to me, is a compromise. That's a compromise. And I apologize if I'm jumping to conclusions here, but that's my experience of hearing talks of some of our God brothers and moving into the self-improvement genre. The only self-improvement we need is to be engaged happily and sweetly into this process that Prabhupada has given us. I mean, it's such a beautiful, you want eternal happiness and joy, it's all right here. And it's a matter of just being able to go deep into Prabhupada's Vani. Untampered Vani.
Yes, well, thank you very much. Yashoda, I see you put up a quote here. Maybe you could read it for us in the chat. Microphone. Prabhu, microphone. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
This is a question that's been raised. How should one feel internally when offering prayers to Krishna? This was put out by Gargamuni Maharaj in his post on Facebook. Prabhupada, any language you should submit that you should feel that I am worthless. My Guru Maharaj has given this chance to serve Krishna, to offer Krishna. My Lord, I'm worthless. I have no capacity to serve you. But on the order of my Guru Maharaj, I'm trying to serve you. Please do not take any offense. Accept whatever I can do. That's all. That is my request. That mantra is sufficient. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 26, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or whatever, I will accept it. Krishna never said that one who offers me with Sanskrit mantra. Real thing is bhakti, feeling, how to serve Krishna, how to please him. That is wanted. Not to see that you're a very good scholar in speaking in Sanskrit or English. Always feel that I am worthless, but I have been, by the grace of my Guru Maharaj, I have been given the chance to kindly accept whatever little service I can give. I am offensive, so kindly excuse me. In this way, be humble, meek, and offer your feeling, and Krishna will be satisfied. Not that you have to show how you can speak in Sanskrit language. This is from that prior conversation we discussed in Hyderabad, India on April 12, 1975. Prabhupada, real thing is bhakti. What you can offer to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. What have you got? What is your value? And what is the value of your things? It is nothing. Therefore, real thing is bhaktya. Real thing is your feeling. Krishna, kindly take it. I have no qualification. I am most rotten, fallen, but weeps. I have brought this thing for you. Please take. that will be accepted. Don't be puffed up. Always be careful. You are dealing with Krishna. That is my request. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada was weeping in that conversation. This is from the installation of the Rukmini Dwarkadish on July 16th, 1969 in Los Angeles. Very, very sweet. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes. And the process is simple. Just repeat what you've heard from your spiritual master. No change, no mental concoction, no mental speculation. This is Maya. And it's petty, very petty, because your lifespan is very short. And this opportunity to get out of the material world is right in front of us by the grace of our association with the bona fide spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. These people are being deceived blatantly. This is a misrepresentation of Prabhupada's teachings and our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. It is absolutely Maya. Yes, I heard that Dharma Bhavana wanted to ask a question. Prabhu, we'll finish up the program with that question if you'd like.
Yeah, one of our local friends sent me a letter. They've been very intelligently studying Srila Prabhupada's letters. And this one is maybe way back to 1968. It says, liberated or non-liberated. Generally, the spiritual master comes from a group of such eternal associates of the Lord, but anyone who follows the principles of such ever liberated persons is as good as one in the above mentioned group. A person who is a liberated acharya and guru cannot commit any mistake, but there are persons who are less qualified or not liberated, but still can act as guru and acharya by strictly following the disciplic succession. So this letter to Janardhan, New York, 26th of April, 1968. If you could just kind of mention a little bit about that, please.
Yashoda, Prabhu.
She has question she was asking.
This particular letter that you're mentioning has been quoted many times as a justification for persons who have not been authorized by Srila Prabhupada to try to go around the back door and quote that letter and say, you see, we can be liberated and we can be Diksha Gurus, even if we're not liberated. Well, the point is, if one disobeys the specific direct instruction of the spiritual master and tries to quote from the spiritual master to try to justify some so-called appointment when there was no appointment, that becomes called Ardha Kukuti Nyaya. It's the logic of the chicken. There's Prabhupada used to often quote that a person was quoting the logic of the half of the chicken. The farmer did want to get rid of the neck because it was expensive to feed the neck, and wanted to keep the back of the chicken because it was giving the eggs. In other words, one cannot take the instruction of the spiritual master out of context to try to manufacture a philosophy that Prabhupada never intended. Prabhupada was very, very careful many times about warning his disciples not to imitate, to be very careful not to imitate the position of the Acharya. Prabhupada saw this with his godbrothers in a Gaudiya Math, and he warned his leaders and all of his disciples not to artificially imitate the position of the Acharya. Prabhupada many times warned, don't try to become a better Paramahamsa than your Guru Maharaj. So in other words, Prabhupada gave a lot of instruction to his disciples, specifically his leading disciples, not to artificially imitate the position of the Paramahamsa. And we saw what happened in 1937 and what happened also in 1977. Prabhupada gave plenty of instruction, but there's no record anywhere of Prabhupada giving the specific instruction to any disciple or group of disciples to become Diksha Guru or initiating of Acharya. If somebody can prove that, and take the instructions that have been given and show but to the whole society, to all disciples, where that specific direct instruction was given by Srila Prabhupada to any disciple or group of disciples to that they have been appointed as Diksha Gurus. They should come into this program and show that instruction. It's interesting that one of these leading disciples in Topanga Canyon, California, on December 3rd, 1980, admitted that there is no record. This is a myth, this idea that Prabhupada appointed any gurus. Where is that instruction? Where is that specific appointment given by Srila Prabhupada? He did not give that. But then he continues claiming that everybody can just become their own authority and become guru. Well, they tried that. It was not very successful. But then when they tried to fix it, they invented another philosophy, another nonsense idea that everybody can become their own authority by vote, by election, by some so-called roundabout way. This is not what Prabhupada taught. Although Prabhupada says in that letter, we have to understand the context of some of these letters according to time, place, and circumstance. This is a very long discussion which we can have. We've been talking about this several times before, but the point is that Prabhupada always instructed that Vani is always more important than Babu. That's why Prabhupada wrote a letter in 1975 to one Bhakta Dennis on April 8, 1975. Prabhupada, I think that the best thing for you is to study our books very carefully and then try to write something. Do not try to concoct your own theories. This is not the process. You must write just as you have heard from your guru and nothing else. Otherwise, your writing is useless. There was another letter on January 4th, 1975, on January 4th. First thing is that one must understand Srimad Bhagavatam fully. The first verse, if you simply explain, will take volumes and volumes. So please study my books intensely and do not fail to understand 16 rounds daily, following the 4 regulative principles strictly. That will make everything perfect. So there's a lot of other instructions in the same way. We've been discussing in the past how we wanted to have a special program to discuss these issues because there's a lot of different points about disciplic succession, initiation, following the instruction of the spiritual master, Vani and Vapu, historical context of Prabhupada's statements about his godbrothers and about his instruction in 1977, which we've said many times have been misunderstood and misunderstand. And we will definitely have such a special event program in the future, in the near future. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, and we'll finalize today's discussion. I just wanted to add, due to whimsical behavior, Garuda, Prabhupada referred to that in a profound lecture in 1972 in Vrindavan. It was due to whimsical behavior of his godbrothers that the whole Gaudiya Math was destroyed. A great society like that was ruined by personal ambition of a few. And the same whimsical behavior has gone on in our group. And here's the evidence. It's self-evident. And just see, it's been disproved that they are bona fide gurus by the behavior of so many of them that have made atrocious errors in their behavior, like I can't get their names right now, Bhakta Vidyapurna and Kirtananda and Bhavananda. just to name a few. Ruta, if you go down the list, when the guru is supposed to be Uttama Adhikari, and then you have a list of 50 people that have committed atrocities, Harikesha, etc., it exposes the fact that this is a fraud by their example. Simple as that. So we'll carry on. We'll be back on Saturday morning. We may be looking at some changes in timings for our classes as we're doing some adjustments for our production program. And we'll notify everybody. And our classes may switch from a Wednesday to a Tuesday, or a Wednesday to a Thursday on during the week. It's possible, same time. And any other adjustments that we have to do to accommodate different people that are helping us with our production activities. Here at the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, and thank you all for joining us in this wonderful opportunity to get devotee association and make advancement through spiritual practice and hearing the truth in everyone's association. So thank you again. We'll move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna and Prabhupada chanting on his bongo drum back in the 60s. And then we'll do the wind up to the program, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on Saturday. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava, assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this informative program. Thanks Venkat Bhatta Prabhu in Bangalore for conducting the program. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Calgary, Alberta, Canada for managing the program, and everybody involved, specifically in Australia, Shama Sundar, and also Das Avatar Prabhu in Montreal, Rochita Devi Dasi, Krishna Katha in San Diego, California, Bhakta Ran Singh in Sacramento, California, and everybody participating and getting involved in the discussion of this program. Thanks our good friend in Dallas, Texas, Dharma Bhavana and his good wife, Panchagoda Prabhu in Ukraine, and everybody else involved in this program. We look forward to see you and everybody on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. in Florida and other jurisdictions in the East Coast. Thanks, everybody. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.